Well, that's some of Pasulka's work, right? Where she's like, these are believed to have been angels. I could tell you from my own experience, the evangelical movement I grew up in, we had prophets that, claimed to be prophets, and they would have these really intense prayer lives. They would fast, and some of them would pray 4 hours a day, meditate 4 hours a day for 30 years, mind you.
Wow.
And they could do really impressive, like one guy was seen in two places at once, insane stuff. But my point is, whenever I would ask some of them, okay, like, have you ever seen an angel? I'd be this annoying pest of a kid. I'm like, hey, you ever seen an angel before? And they were like, oh, yeah. I'm like, well, what does it look like? Well, one day I was in prayer, and it's in the morning, and the sanctuary is, it's really dark. The lights are turned off, and I see this ball of light start floating towards me. I said, and this is before I even got in the field, Steve.
Right.
But once I did get in the field, and now that we're having conversations like you and I are having now, I myself am looking back and going, how do you know that was an angel? Just because it was a ball of light. And to that point, what we do know of them is that they can become anthropomorphic. They have actually projected auditory hallucinations in people's minds. That's the footfall of a man behind me, and no, it's an orb, right? It's projected itself into apparitions. Dylan Borland, a recent whistleblower, or he was actually at the congressional hearing, he talks about experiencing this very phenomena where this ball of light is moving towards him. And for those who are familiar with your and I's work, like our work, respectfully, you're
Hmm.
going to see what I'm pointing at here, because as he's looking at this ball of light, all of a sudden he witnesses the ball of light construct a triangle UAP right in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
And so the problem I'm having, at least mentally, intellectually, is if that is just an angel, then it's got to be everything else it manifests to as well. It's
Yeah.
got to be the UAP,
Yeah.
or it's got to be the dog man. It's got to be the apparition. It's got to be the extraterrestrial.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it all of them, or dare I say, Steve, is it none of them?
None, I would say. You
None.
know, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. We don't even know if the phenomena, the true source of the phenomena, even has a
Yeah.
recognizable face for us to even comprehend. Maybe because that's what it utilizes the construct for, because
Yes.
it doesn't have, and therefore it adopts. And it's interesting because I remember talking to experiencer and researcher Ray Hernandez, lovely
Yeah.
guy, and his experience started with seeing all these strange balls of light in the sky, which manifested the balls of light into a giant craft. But
Yep.
then he also had an experience that was sort of sat in traffic on a freeway,
Hmm.
and suddenly he was not in his car, and he was somewhere else, and he was being shown all these different images moving around him like a carousel, and all these
Hmm.
images were all the archetypes.
There we go.
And I'm thinking to myself, oh, and I'm listening to this, I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting.
Yeah, you're like, I'm jotting that down and put that back in here. You
Exactly.
know, let me say this real quick because I think this will really help people understand where we're coming from. In the movie The Mothman Prophecies, John Klein is at his hotel room. He gets a phone call from Indrid Cold. Who are you? What's your name? My name is Indrid Cold. What do you look like?
Hmm.
What do you look like, Indrid Cold? And Indrid said, it depends on who's looking.
Yeah, that's it.
That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah,
Um,
it
that's why
really,
we
it really
we've
is.
got to figure out a better way to document the data outside of I know what I saw, because
Yeah.
again, we're trapped within the model of form versus function. And
Yes.
if we have something that can interchange its face as to anything we want it to be, then there has to be the function that we're researching.
Yeah,
What is it doing afterwards?
exactly.
Yeah.
How many years did we have the documentary and all the information coming out about the aerial school incident, which
Hmm.
John Mack was looking into, and it became very well known. There was documentaries and all sorts. How many years did we have that until we got this element of little bit added to the story? Where,
Hmm.
hang on, why is there only five kids that didn't run away? And why is this being grey with long black hair, for strangely enough, I don't know why, but it's just a little glitch in the system maybe, but stood on top of its craft, which is landed, and created another archetype. It's
Right.
another
The one,
archetype
yeah.
is created
Yeah.
skipping and jumping along. So the kids are not looking at this anymore. They're looking at that and they're going, what the hell? And it's skipping and jumping along. And then it disappears. And then it reappears. Disappear. And it's like a recording. But they are transfixed. And whilst they're transfixed, the real one was coming towards them. Only about a few, maybe a meter or so away. And then he suddenly realised, oh, it's right here in front of us now. We were
Right.
suddenly drawn over there and for some reason, we weren't looking at it. And then suddenly that disappears and, oh, you're here. First words, we want you to come with us. And then they freaked out, sort of and run away. But why are 5 kids singled out? Why is the deception? Why was all that created
Right.
so that the other one could get close enough to them to say, I want you to come with us, sort of thing, let's make contact, sort of thing. Sort of thing. It's just deceptive, absurdity, deception.
It's incredible.
And it's the program. It's created as a distraction on purpose, so it can use it as a
To
distraction.
skip, let's go this deep if we can. When we're looking at the way the phenomenon can manipulate our perception of it, we've known that, but we didn't have the brain scans that Dr. Gary Nolan has
Mm,
to produce the data. But if we look at the way the phenomenon will tailor itself, not just to the experiencer, but to their very neurology,
hmm
right? Again, that's the observer. It's tailoring itself to the neurology of that experiencer and even the age preference. I mean, if you look at what the phenomenon did here, if that was an 80-year-old man, it wasn't going to be skipping around. Why? Because they're children. They're playing. That's what they do. And so again, it's feeding
mm,
like a program into their psyche. But I also want to highlight this nuance as well, where it diversified its identity in their eyes.
mm.
Not just one, it's two.
Yes,
Now, one of them's real, one
yes,
of them is the function, the other is the form.
that's
And we're
right.
looking at the form, and the function's moving closer and closer and closer to us again. And I do believe that's where we are, but it gets back to this concept of these lights, again, diversifying the forms.
Mm. Yes,
I'm all of them.
yes,
Therefore, I'm separate phenomena. And I'm to the point now where it's okay, either you're all of them or you're none of them,
mm.
perhaps.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
all of this has been a program to propagandize our species. Look over there. There's
yeah,
the looping, right?
yeah,
ET.
yeah,
There's something else there as well. So
yeah.
that's where I'm at with it. And I do think that and again, I know you've heard this before and I've heard it too, where it's okay if we don't have all the right answers yet.
No,
That's okay.
mm.
As long as we start to understand what the right questions are.
That's exactly it. That's like what Nick said, like Nick Kyle
Yeah,
said.
absolutely.
Sometimes we just don't even know what the question is to ask because we're trying to figure out
Yeah.
how do we even ask that question. And how long has this phenomena been around? They're seemingly ancient tribes, even in Amazon and the Amazon tribes, and there's about 30, I think, listed so far. When people went and showed them, I mean, these are, some of these are third world countries. They got no internet, no phone, no books.
Hmm.
They just live in some hut or live in the forest or whatever. But these people, indigenous people, they seem to know the reference, a visual reference of what the alien
Hmm.
grey is. They even have I mean, I know the Amazonian tribe have a name for it called Mank Un Awabu. Man Unkawabu. It's to recognize. It's to even give it a name.
Yeah.
And the thing is that that's been introduced through various different things. I mean, you can sort of list DMTs.
Mhm.
Various forms as well as if you really want to lick the back of a toad. But there's even a toad. I don't think
There's
I'd like
better
to.
ways. There's better ways.
Yeah, I know. I know ayahuasca is not a pleasant experience, but I think I prefer that than licking the
No.
back of a toad. But same process, machine elves or these things,
Mhm.
through DMT, through near-death experiences as well, through
Right.
out-of-body experiences, through astral projection, meditation, fasting, ritual prayers, ritualistic
Mhm.
practices, alchemy, sorcery, and
Mhm.
even to the point of saying sort of actual real encounters. So
Yeah.
they're across the whole mechanism of anything which is beyond our limitations of the body and our mind.
Mhm.
Anything
Right.
that takes us
Right.
there. if it's accidentally, but then sometimes it comes this way because that's us going into their domain, into DMT,
Hmm.
NDAs, OBE, astral projection and stuff. That's us. We're in your territory.
Right.
But they come into ours, and that's when it's real encounters. Oh, you're going to witness us now, really, in your reality, because now you've caught our eye because you've been in our reality. Anthony Peake
Hmm.
was telling me last night an interesting incident where he was a guy who'd done DMT and he'd had this experience with this being. And the being was saying, well, you know what? You shouldn't be here. Why are you here? That sort of a
Right.
thing.
Right.
And he said, you shouldn't come back. Don't do this again. And some time later, he did go back. The damn
Hmm.
thing's there, still same one. I thought I told you not to come back. It's like, whoa, whoa, this is not just a trip. What is going on here? You know,
Hmm.
there's definitely something to it. And it's the same things which you've seen. And this is why it was brought up in regarding a video I did on the telepathy tapes.
Hmm.
Why are children with non-speaking autism from all around the world somehow being taken metaphysically to a metaphysical domain? It's not a normal place. It's a hill. They call it the hill. There are a few hills where they're put into pods of communication. But the hill is a strange colour. It's not green hill. It's a purple hill or it's a pink hill. And there's strange colour. The whole scene, the whole environment is a work of art.
Hmm.
It's designed to entrance. It's designed to
Hmm.
capture the child's imagination. It's just
Tailored.
those famous words. They know
Yeah.
to say things only children would understand. And they are created an environment and they are governing it. NHI are there governing the kids. And now there are apparently establishments that want to get in to that location, want to get to the hill. Not because of the kids, not because they're interested in the kids, because NHI are
NHI.
there and we can communicate and we can gain things. But apparently NHI have upped the ante since it's come out on the telepathy tapes,
Hmm.
it came out on the internet, because now the guardship's gone 10 times more. And they're like, as soon as we even get apparently to this place,
Hmm.
through experimental research, such as remote viewing or meditation or whatever. But if you manage to get there, and some people claim they've managed to, they're immediately set upon by NHI. Who are you? What are you? Why are you here? You're not
Yeah.
supposed, and they will repulse you. Boom, you're gone. You're out of it. You're not there anymore. They throw you out. They kick you out. They've upped their antes. But what are they doing with the kids? This is what my concern is. What are they doing with these children? Because
Yeah.
there's plenty. This has been going on for a long time. It's only leaked out recently, and now we realise it.
Mhm.
Hang on, how long's this been going on for? It's been going on for quite some time. What the hell are NHI doing? And when talking to the children, they were asked about, oh yes, we do see discs, we do see strange craft and things. Some of them
Hmm.
shrink in size and go into people,
Uh-oh, what's that?
going into people. So they asked the children. We don't know. It was like, well, is it about sincerity? Are they checking your sincerity? No, I think it's a little bit more different than that. These things are shrinking and going into the ethereal body of these children. What the hell is going on? My alarm bells were ringing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, I'm going everywhere with this one.
spider sensors going, and I thought, I don't like this. But I had to highlight that because at the end of the day, we just don't know. We don't know
No,
what's
we don't
going,
know.
but
No.
something's happening with these, and why? Why create an environment which is all, it reminds me of, those old horror stories,
Hmm.
trying to get the kids in, Rumpelstiltskin
With
and the
candy or
Pied
something,
Piper
yeah.
and all those stories.
Hansel and Gretel.
Hansel and Gretel. Exactly. And it's just the same deceptive manner. Let's make this a
Hmm.
beautiful place. Kids will love it. They'll want to come, da 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 da. And it's beautiful colours, not normal colours, vivid
Hmm.
colours. It's like a rainbow world. And
A
you think to
circus
yourself,
or something.
this has been purposely designed for the kids. It's been purposely designed for them.
Yeah. The
That's
phenomenon can construct mind environments
mm,
to interact with us in a mind environment where and we've seen this throughout history where it's not just that the entity doesn't exist in terms of the mask.
right.
We're interfacing with again, the form, but even the mind environment some of these people are taken into doesn't exist. In the 16th century, we have witch era literature where the witches themselves believed they had been taken to an undisclosed location
Yeah.
chosen by NHI. And they were copulating with demons and corpses and everything. And then the frequency that created the construct fuzzed out
Mm.
for a fleeting moment, Steve. And now they're realizing this is not at all what I think it is. It's not where I thought I was. And they were being poked and prodded by metallic objects that were designed to prop up the mind environment they thought they were in. And that's again form, function.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll even throw in a human. Oh well,
Oh yeah.
make it look like a doctor's surgery. Okay, let's put some humans in there, but they're not quite something not quite right. You look at the Pascagoula UFO incident, these strange creatures that came out with claws and stuff and took them on the ship. Well, if you actually dig into that story, behind the screen were human people. Or were they
Yeah.
just there to sort of ease you down a little bit? Let's
Mhm.
put something from something familiar in your environment. Some people have said, well, I thought it was my doctor and I recognised him and I was in the doctor's surgery, but something weren't quite right. It was not your doctor and it was not your doctor's surgery. This is what
Absolutely.
they're going to do, go deep into the core of you, take your memories and utilise them against you. And if they think they
Mhm.
need to bring you down a little bit, because I've always argued the point, what was the situation with Travis Walton when they wanted to get him off board? That he wakes up, three greys there, and trying to whack him with this. He grabs something. They run out
Mhm.
in panic. Next minute, a human-looking person comes in and takes control of the situation, gets him off the ship. I'm thinking, okay, so and everybody was going, oh, the Palladians or Nordics are working with the Greys. And I'm thinking to
Mhm.
myself, no, it's all the same thing. It is. I think it's just a transition of management. How do we deal with it? Let's create a new,
Change it.
change it. And they did, and it worked, and they got him off. Dumped him by the
Mhm.
side of a road, of course, but they got him off the ship or wherever he was. But it does seem to work. Now, when I start looking at those incidents, I'm thinking it's the same manipulation across, same as the aerial school in
Mhm.
Zimbabwe, same as the kids at the hill and then telepathy tapes. It's the same process through all of them. It's like we are judging it as we go on. And we can, okay, is a situation arise? Let's do this. It's like there's a plan for everything. Let's do this. Let's create a human looking person. Might bring him down a little bit. Let's create the doctor and the surgeon because it's familiar to them.
Yes.
Let's create a giant rabbit because it's a child and we don't want to scare them. So it's like
Right.
it's clever. It's
The
working it out as it does it, and it adopts,
yes.
doesn't it, immediately to that change.
Evolving.
That's what's so clever because
Evolving according to our awareness
yeah,
of it.
that's exactly it. Now, I wanted to mention to you about this Amanda. I mentioned to you this about this Amanda Mullen because you sparked a
Mhm.
memory for me about an incident that took place 1998, February 8th in Kentucky. Amanda
Mhm.
Mullen, she's a 15-year-old girl. She had been going through some thought to be alien abduction type cases.
Mhm.
She has this incident. She's freaking out. I mean, she's absolutely freaking out. Mum, dad don't know what to do. So she's trying her best to stop the process of being taken.
Mhm.
Now, this was a really interesting incident because she wakes up, she sees these lights, she's thinking, oh no, they're back again, sort of a thing. She's absolutely terrified in fear.
Mhm.
And she sees them, and she's not under paralysis. She's actually, I can move, but she was said that maybe she was, she wasn't. Maybe it's that she was frozen in fear. She said, I could move, but I was just frozen in fear, sort of thing. I didn't know what to do, where to go. There was no way of
Mhm.
escaping until mother comes through the door, the bedroom door, and calls her, Amanda, quickly come with me, holds out the hand and vacates the bedroom. The next thing she remembers is the experience of the abduction. It was not a mother. It was not her mother. When she realized she
Oh,
had the hand of something else,
yeah.
but it coaxed her into, Amanda, come with me. and she reached out and grabbed what she thought was her mother's
That's
hand
so sick. That's so
in
sick.
protection. Now that is the highest point of deception, to utilize what you are looking for safety, to get out of a situation, to manipulate it to get what you
Yeah.
want. And this was what was happening. Remember, it sparked. I had to go back and look through my files to find that it was reported to me about 3 or 4 years ago. But I just thought, do you know what? There's no lengths. There's no limit to the
There's
lengths they'll go.
they don't care. They don't care. It's
No.
psychopathy. It's
Yeah.
psychopathy. This gets back to another case study that's kind of like that. I found it in, actually, I think it was Ray Hernandez's book,
Oh
Beyond
yeah.
UFOs,
Yeah, yeah. Got it up here on
where,
the shelf actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
sweet. Yeah. Mine doesn't look as good as yours, but it's back here
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But my friend, this particular case study, again, it's creepy. Let's just call it what it is. It's creepy because this particular case, the little girl is in bed at nighttime,
Mm,
and she wakes up to the sound of her mother's voice calling her name. Come out into the hallway. Come with me. And so she's like, Mom, Mom. She's following the sound of her mother's voice. So the hallway splits into a bathroom,
mm,
living room, right? So as she's walking, her eyes are adjusting to the darkness. She's, Mom, Mom, what is it, Mom? Looks over, and in the bathroom with the lights off are both of her parents, just standing there with their eyes open like that. Yeah, and that's when she realized that she's hearing her mother's voice,
yeah.
but her mother's mouth is not moving.
Yeah.
And then she looks into the living room, and there's a being in the living room, and the voice is coming from the entity.
It's,
We can't even understand the kind of
no.
deception that was employed. And that's what gets me, when people are like, okay, everything about this is about transcendence and to raise our consciousness. What is consciousness? Can we quantify that properly? If we can't, but how do you know if it's being raised?
Yes,
Right?
that's good. Yeah.
Let's just put it out there, and that's what's
Mm,
frustrating. It's like,
yeah.
okay, let that happen to your kid
Yeah.
and then go sell Love and Light merch at the local conference. You wouldn't. You
No.
wouldn't,
No, no.
and these same people will go home and lock their doors at night and kind of propagate this narrative. And it's like, no, no, no. There are some things that should not be happening.
Hmm.
Yeah, that is complete and utter
Yeah.
deception of the most vulnerable and pure among us.
Absolutely. They do really. It is despicable, isn't it, really? And you think about it, what lengths
Yeah.
they'll go to get what they want. But I did want to mention about this particular research, because when I was talking to you the other day about about prayer and does it make a difference and stuff, and the research that I've discovered is kind of, well, in a few cases, yeah, but in most cases, no. It outweighs the most cases, no, than it does. But people like to emphasize on those sort of things. But I came across Gary Bates, who's a researcher, and he's been doing this for like 25 years. And he looked into about, does prayer stop these alien abduction cases? And he wrote, while the encounter ending after an abductee calls on the name of Jesus is a good start, I don't believe it's fully sufficient on its own to label these alien abductions as demonic encounters, as they are many more incidents that prayer seems to do nothing. In his own words, after 25 years of research, Jacques Vallée states, believing in such sudden acts being stopped by prayer could simply be the phenomenon creating a fake action to cause uncertainty, confusion, and absurdity on purpose. It's like it's a psychological warfare. It's like, yeah, I'm going to mess with your head, but
Mhm.
even a researcher that spent 25 years, in that area is saying this, is basically saying, yeah, it's very difficult to find these incidents, very far and
Right.
few between. But from what he learns, he got 25, he found 25 cases. And that's good going,
Mhm.
really, if you think about it. If you're trying to find, because people might not even document it, you know what I mean? But he found 25 cases of it. But when he looked at it, and he's concluded at the end of the day, nah, yeah, okay, it's there, but nowhere near sufficient evidence to suggest that.
Right.
No, so, and it's interesting that Jacques Vallée might, considering it, is that, oh, yes, it's just a phenomenal mechanism it's designed to cause absurdity. This is why.
Right.
1977, Project Blue Book listed over 10 million various shapes and sizes to UFOs. There's no baseline model, and if there's no baseline model for UFOs, there's no
Mhm.
baseline model that can assist you in regarding um, getting out of a situation of an alien abduction.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. And again, it's this desire many people have to force us into saying, well, it happens every time. Every time.
Yep. Yeah,
Every
yeah.
time. And there may be reasons for that, but what we can say with surety is it doesn't happen every time.
Hmm.
And it's deeper than again, a lot of people want it to be. And it's the same kind of inquiry I get
Yes.
where it's like, okay, Nathaniel, label them as demonic, and then just all you have to say, Nathaniel. It's like, no, 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 no. We're way beyond that now.
Yeah, yeah.
It could be that in addition to something else, or you know what I mean? I don't know. But the deception is profound. And again, we're not fighting for minutes when we're interfacing with this stuff.
Yeah.
By it gets to a point where if you're interfacing with it for a certain amount of time, it's not just manifesting to you, it's manifesting through you. It's thinking for you. It's projecting an image and then helping you believe in it. And
Yes.
now you're in this Mayan environment. Um, but I think there's a lot there that needs to be discovered. I've had conversations with researchers that, I've had 500 cases where this has worked. It's like, okay, but there are millions of cases,
Hmm.
millions.
Yeah.
And to kind of structure your hypothesis on that small of a data set, it's tough. It's tough.
It really is. There was a Christian scholar that I
Mhm.
remember sent me some stuff some time back. He spent about 70 years in the field of Christian scholarship. And he was concerned when, in more modern times, maybe over the last 5 years, there's been talk about being able to, can humanity or can consciousness live forever and be transferred into artificial intelligence?
Mhm.
There's some documentation, some movies are even around this subject. And
Mhm.
he showed a lot of concern, and he said, "This is the same trick that demons pulled on the kings of old." The
Mhm.
promise of eternal life, not through God, but through technology, thus giving rise to the belief that through technology they can have a way to bypass God and the rise of eternal life. The Bible
Yeah.
states that the only way to eternal life is through the acceptance of the Lord and the Savior Jesus Christ. Though the tricks of the demons, people have abandoned that, because of the tricks. What he's getting at here is that is technological advancement, because we do know NHI
Mhm.
are helping and assisting with technological advancement. Look at the first
Mhm.
person it created that came up with um, quantum mechanics.
Mhm.
He was downloaded information. So there's a new
Right.
area of study. It's the same for rocket scientists and many other things. Many professionals, academics all over the world are getting assisted in regarding
Mhm.
building creations, inventions, technologies. If we ever get down that path where technologies, we're going to be leaning towards more technology than spiritualism or belief in religion in itself,
Yeah.
that would not be a good. And this is the angle that he's cutting.
No.
He's basically saying it's the same
Yeah.
thing of days of old, what they promised kings. And yet, oh yes, don't worry, eternal life if you do this, do that, and they go and do it. And then eventually, somehow, along the way, disaster happens and they all perish or
Mhm.
whatever. Oh well, you know what? It's our pound of flesh. Thank you very much. I just start to think, well, I don't know. I'm just thinking to myself, well, it's the same story. It's been told, but in more modern times.
Absolutely. Is that Linux, by the way? Did Linux say
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Ah, I knew it, Steve.
Well done.
I love John. John's
Yeah.
a beast. He's a beast.
Yeah. Oh,
But you're
yeah.
exactly right. And it does seem to be going towards that. I mean, I had a Zoom call a while ago with an individual in ufology. Um, had the shock of her life when one of these high-ranking ufologists had dinner with this individual and a bunch of others and showed him their altar, her altar. Ta-da! Here's my altar. And so the question shifted from the altar and just what the real narrative of ufology is and should be. And then we got into a conversation about technology. What is this? what is it really? Because it's not like, again, it's raising our consciousness. It's almost the Trojan horse of John Keel's research, where it's something invading our species and, yes, capturing our attention. And the same thing with Kenneth Grant. This could be one of the ways his quote comes true,
Yes.
where in times past we prayed to deities.
Yes.
Now it's just NHI with technology.
It's technology, I know, and
Yeah,
gearing people for technology. Oh, let's get them, let's help them get to space. And because this is why the people are saying, like, in the high circles, oh, well, we put stuff on them because it's for them. So we pay homage. Or even to the point where, oh, yeah, they're the sponsors. Hey, what the hell? I mean, it's like, what? They're the sponsors. Who are the sponsors? Who are they? That sort
right.
of question.
Where you get this information from, first of all, because we that's quite an assumption, right? Like for them on their part, obviously not what we're saying here, but I mean, if you're going to sigilize a rocket or, make the leader of the free world, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
not Jimmy John, right? That's not just some
No.
rando out there. You put him in a circle, look this way. They were instructed to do that. They've had success in the past by doing things like that,
Yeah.
or else they would not entrust a $1 billion space program at least
Mm,
to novices or to something that probably won't work, but it's worth a shot.
mm.
So they're very, very much involved in this stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it concerns me because the amount of knowledge we're getting, even if it's open source,
Yes.
is is
Well, you've got to
disturbing.
consider
And
how much there is, which we're not getting.
yeah,
Because if we're getting this now in open source, there must
where
be a
they are.
huge amount because it's overflowing and it's leaking. It must be a huge amount. There's got to be.
Yeah, yeah, and deeper than what we could even imagine. I mean, again, if that's what's trickling out from the water cooler,
Yeah.
oh, by the way, I saw this. It's like, oh my God, it's the iceberg effect, and it's what I've been concerned with over the years is that we're only seeing what's breaching the surface of the water. Everything else that's going down to the base of the iceberg is hidden. And it
Yes.
implies a profound amount of experience with these beings on the part of the government.
But it's very cleverly done. It's done like
Yeah,
it's done like a CIA program. What you do
yeah,
is you infiltrate at the top level and you get one on your side. Tim Taylor,
that's it.
Dragon Command.
That's it.
You know what? He's in charge of the bloody launchers and stuff and everything.
Mhm.
Bringing these together and whatever. He knows a lot of stuff. He manages to walk through airports without having not bothering about clearance and stuff. Just get straight through.
That's
No problem.
crazy. It's
You know what?
crazy.
He's obviously very much liked, but not just by this, not just by the US government, but the phenomena as well. Phenomena has these placements. Okay, let's
Hmm.
go right to the top of the chain. Let's get him, because if he's with us, then we've got control over it. This is the infiltration process, and people have said to me, this is why people say to me, Steve, why don't you just go and land on the White House lawn? And I said, because they're already in
Oh,
there. They're already in the bloody
yeah.
White House. They've got the mindset and individuals which are in communications or whatever, and they know what's going on. If they wanted to, they do not want to come and land on the White House lawn. Forget it,
Yeah.
because
They'll
they
just
don't want to do that. Never
they'll
going to
just
happen.
land. No, they'll commandeer the consciousness of the leader. That's all they have to do.
That's exactly it. Exactly.
Again, people suggest a lot of their model of ufology is like from some kind of science fiction movie where they'll just land on the lawn. No, no, no. I wish that was the case, right? Because we could perceive that. We have mechanisms to push back
Yes.
against that. That's not what we're dealing with. We're not dealing with the fact, okay, they could shoot down the jet. No, they could possess the pilot.
Exactly. Yes.
Way different than what a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of people think it is.
I know, and this is and this is why they used to the LTBs, leave them be. This is what Russia was saying. Pilots are
Yep,
losing their lives. Aircraft turning off in the mid-air. Oh my God, it's just turned off. What can I do? Well, trying a jet don't work. I'm pressing a jet, don't
right.
work. They just fall to the death. The thing is that just for LTB, leave them be. Don't mess with them. Don't get involved with them. Let them be. And this is what they were doing, and I think that applies to many countries to the point. Okay, yeah, well, we're interested. When you get these stories like, oh yeah, dogfights, they were sending up to scramble them and stuff. Well, sometimes because they just don't want us around and they disappear from the
Yeah,
location. However, they're not going to get up close and personal to these things because they just know one EMP, your
it's
aircraft
gone.
doesn't work, and you'll go. And if that doesn't work, I'll take your consciousness. because the pilots,
Oh
what the
God.
pilots were
Yeah.
doing early on when we gave the early shoot down orders in from the late 1980s through on to the 1990s, was that as soon as they thought about opening the thing to do lock on,
Mhm.
yeah, the craft maneuvered. And the pilots realized,
It's
what the
gone. What do I
hell?
do now?
How did he know we're even doing that? They were constantly connected to the pilots, knowing that every single move they were making. As soon
Absolutely.
as the pilots went to, okay, let's turn the system on, let's try and get a lock on these things for weapons, a weapons lock, they knew and counter maneuvered on purpose. And the pilots were saying they must have known our actions. They must have known
Wow.
what we were doing,
Right.
you know? And then you start thinking about, well, pilots that have said, how did they know where our rendezvous place was?
I just thought of that. Right.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah,
They're in here. They're
they're
in
in here.
here. I remember watching a one of these whistleblowers. He's a pilot, like we were talking about, and he had an experience with the UAP. And the closer he got, the more he was out of his own body.
Yeah,
He was having an out of body experience.
yeah,
He landed the plane, and his testimony was profound. He goes, I go into the bathroom, I just sit on the toilet, I am holding my head, and I'm out of my body looking at myself. Who could weaponize a near-death experience, Steve?
yeah,
That is, again, when people like to pigeonhole me, Nathaniel, say A, B, and C. I want you to say A, B, and C. It's like, no, I can't say that because if we're dealing with a species that forget about being predatory,
yeah,
that's us,
yeah.
right? We're like, well, I understand it's a predator because A, B, and C. We don't even know how to quantify those
No.
because if we're talking about something that can induce a near-death experience and weaponize it,
Yes.
we we better hope it's horns and hooves.
It
We
really,
better hope.
yep, absolutely. There has been a few people that have been asked, been asking about, when we come to investigating this sort of phenomena, what is the best sort of stuff to do, or best sort of equipment and things. And I said, well, number one is you,
Right.
your body, and just as Barry said, and I've said, he's come up with the theory that obviously what's happening is because of the things we eat and the drink
Hmm.
and what we breathe, the wrappings around, plant food and stuff, all those
Hmm.
poisons and stuff, especially refined sugar. It's poisoning the body. Refined sugar causes adrenal weakness, which is going to get rid of your fight or flight. So you're not going to get no warning mechanisms when your body's screaming at you. There's a problem. So 3 days of not having refined sugar, because it is really a poison to the body. It's just chemicals really, but it causes adrenal weakness. So pump yourself up. Your body is the best piece of equipment, because your body will alert yourself. Paranormal researchers will know this. The hair stands up on your body. You probably know
Right.
this. It's that survival mechanism. We have got it, and it's just because we don't see it or hear it or whatever, don't mean it's not there. The body's telling us. If your body says get the hell out of Dodge, listen to your body, get the hell out of Dodge. If it's an okay experience, your body won't react like that. But at least
Hmm.
prepare your body for it. Starve yourself of refined sugar for 72 hours and go out there if you are going to investigate. Never go on your own, you know,
Hmm.
never. But I mean, of course, when it comes to actual physical equipment, some of the most principal things would be the flow bands. You can buy these now on kind of eBay, and it's a
Hmm.
band that you place on your head. It measures your brainwave activity to your cell phone. And basically, it's mobile. So if you're out there and you have an experience, and just by chance you have a conscious connection, what's going to
You can
happen is your
monitor it.
brain waves are going to change. Discernment is going to take place. And we've got it measured up to 20 seconds. That's how fast they can connect.
Hmm.
The phenomena can connect with us, 20 seconds. So we don't get long sometimes, but you
No,
can
no.
read the measurement change. And what happens is that theta, it puts you into a, theta brain. It's like hypnosis or light sleep, or
Hmm.
your perception can be easily manipulated. It makes you compliant.
Hmm.
The flow bands will let you know your brain, what's happening with your brain during those experiences. So that's a good thing. And you can use those as cell phones to actually do it mobile now, which is a great thing. I mean, it used to be a big, massive piece of equipment. You couldn't do that out on a mobile. DT meters, time displacement meters, they are online. You can buy them. They'll measure latencies in time where phenomena has manifested and
Hmm.
demanifested, leaves a gravitational hole, which absorbs
Wow.
over a period of time. It does in the same as a paranormal, because I've got a video where I'm going into a room and his piece of instrument falls off in a room. It's taped off the room. It's a vibration detector. It's not on there now. It's on the floor, but the pocket around it is giving in an EMF, the affected location. Because of it, not because of it's not a ghost detector EMF. It's basically picking up the gravitational disturbance in the environment
Mhm.
due to the incident happening. Same thing out there in the field. If you a UFO see it, dematerializes in those areas, there seems to be a gravitational well there, which you can pick up
Wow.
through the DT meter, and it's a long probe. It connects to the
Hmm.
DT meter, so it's measuring at the meter, and it's measuring this long probe 100, 200 feet away. So one's in the infected area, one isn't, and you measure the differences between them. And you're starting to see latencies. It's the gravitational field because, you know, we know that happens gravitational because light phenomena, from
Hmm.
even lights from cars, and close to UFOs the lights bend towards the object. Light waves cannot get past gravitational waves. They're stronger, so light gets
Hmm.
caught within it as well. So DT meters are available to purchase. People like to sort of get into the science side of this.
Hmm.
Those sort of things. Those are the two principal things that we needed to discover the gravitational wells by phenomena demanifesting, and also the flow band on the head that measures your brainwave because it makes you compliant. Now, where we've just heard this, there was an incident on
Hmm.
and there's a guy that's come forward, aren't they, from the Skywatcher team.
Mike Batista,
This
absolutely.
is it, and we had a little bit of discussion about this because he used some magic words. And look,
Yeah.
I'm not a lover of Ross Coulthart, to be honest with you. I'm just not. I think sometimes there's a bit of BS going on, but that's just my opinion, my personal opinion. However, I'm not great on the stuff at Skywatch because I know it's hyped up and everything. But I
Mhm.
was listening to him very carefully, and he said some things that caught my ear. And he said something hit me, and I felt compliant. And I thought,
Mhm.
oh, that's your brainwaves just changed, buddy. That
Absolutely.
is what has just happened. You have just lost your discernment with the connection, with the phenomena.
Yep.
But it comes to ground, and what's it doing? What's this? What is this thing doing?
It's
As it
going through
comes,
archetypes, Steve. It's going through
it's
images. It's
changing them.
shaping and shifting.
Yeah. It's now, you know what? I have to admit, the pictures are lousy, but I get it because if anybody's been out there in the field and you filmed something strange in the sky or even something strange on the ground and you're looking at it, your eyesight is incredible. I admit, the
Mhm.
human eye is an amazing piece of equipment because it outdoes your cameras. And you zooming in on
Mhm.
your camera, I know you can see some type of strange blob moving around, but your eye's not seeing that. Your eye is seeing something really weird, and you're trying to explain it, and people are looking at the video going, "Oh, I don't see it," and I don't. Well, sometimes that happens because your
Mhm.
eyesight is 100 times better than even in the dark. It's 100 times better than some of the equipment that we're capturing on cell phone. To be honest with you,
Oh
and
yeah.
it is. But it was because the switching of the archetype, and
Hmm.
changing it was trying to fix itself, trying to work in what to be. At the same time,
Absolutely.
he's just lost his compliant. He's just lost his
Well,
discernment, and now he's compliant. He even said the
he's
word,
done.
"I felt compliant." They got him. They got him exactly where they want.
They've got him, Steve, and then again, as the phenomenon evolves, he's looking at the form. The function took him or did something to him, and now he has symbols on his body.
Yeah,
Where else
there we
have we
have it.
heard that?
Exactly. And you know what? It's interesting that these things, but those guys, they can't
Mhm.
connect the dots because they don't know what we know. I'm
No,
going, well,
no.
guys, you've just lost your discernment. What's that? You know what I mean? They wouldn't know. They
Yeah,
wouldn't
what is that?
realize what's happening. They don't even realize that just because you're seeing it and filming it with your phone doesn't necessarily mean it is what it is. Because you're
There we
trying to get
go.
your phone to
Form.
confirm what you're seeing. Well, your phone's just as bad as your eyesight because it can both be manipulated. We know
Hmm.
that from the double slit experiment. So again, it's great to find these incidents happening where that knowledge is coming through and you pick it up and you go, that's what we said. There's another one. There's another one. They've not made the
Absolutely.
connection. Skywatcher not team's not made the connection. We can see right through it and make that connection. This is just,
Hmm.
this is why the information out there is so good because people need to kind of learn a bit about You are not in control. Give it up.
Hmm. Not in control, not in control. And we've seen that over the years. I mean, we have, I think, enough case studies,
Yeah,
enough research performed to come forward and say, yeah, it had commandeered his consciousness.
yeah,
By the time he realized what was going on, there was missing time. He ends up with something on his body, and now he's asking his friend, like, what was all of this
yeah,
about?
yeah. What just
You
happened?
know, what just
Yeah,
happened to me? Yeah.
yeah. Uh,
And you're right, we
oh
know
well, buddy.
it. And now that we know what it is, or at least its function, may not even know the form,
No,
then that's a good place to
I,
start
I
because
don't
you're
know.
right.
I do not know how we're going to gain visual authority on this, where we can say this is what we are experiencing visually,
Yeah.
because the eyes can be manipulated by the phenomena, and even your camera, and you don't even have to be holding it. You can just leave it there setting up, will be manipulated by phenomena. So we really, this is where their governance over us. Every time we think we're getting one step further, we realize no, they got that base covered as well. They don't, what a great mechanism they have. It really is a work of art, to be honest with you. Yeah,
All right, brother.
we'll keep in touch. Okay, buddy.
All right, man. I'll talk to you soon, brother. Have a good day.
Talk soon, pal. Ta-da, mate.